It's Ira's world and we're all living in it. Hey everyone, welcome to Prince of the Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with episode 9 of Dan. And so yeah, Ira has unleashed the powers of Acrobatic Silky, something not surprising at all, and is about to help defend Okaroon against the Serpoians. I've been calling them Serpoians the entire time, but I don't know. I just feel like I haven't heard like them like really pronounced because it's like I've watched little bits of the dub, but I don't think I watched the first episode in dub. I don't think, or either that or I'm just forgetting. I don't know. But I don't think I've heard them like pronounce in the dub Serpoians before, unless I just zoned out every time I heard that. But I think it's supposed to be pronounced Serpoians, not Serpoians. Either way, yeah, Ira is going to be defending against them. Also, fun fact for you, I found out that the voice actress for Ira in the dub is the same dub voice actress as Fallon from Delicious in Dungeon. So that's a fun little thing to know. um, but yeah, Ira's gonna kick some major ass here. I presume that Momo's gonna meet up with them. I don't know what's gonna happen with Nessie, but yeah, this is interesting. Also, we have the punchy mantis shrimp boy. Like, we got to deal with that dude as well. There's a lot going on right now. Uh, how are we going to resolve this? I wonder. And we still haven't met that other character from the intro, the dude, the goofy looking dude. We still haven't met him at all. Now after this, there's like only 3 episodes left of the season. So we've got to resolve things pretty quickly, I feel, right? Like there's definitely room for like one more small arc here, but we've got to have like some kind of like notable resolutions and everything to close season 1 out well. I mean, I don't know how it matches up with the manga and everything, but still. I don't think that this, I guess you could call arc, is going to last past this episode, though. I think that they're going to win, they're going to get out, and move on as much as they can. I think that Momo and Okaroon's little argument and fight will be resolved by the end of this episode as well. So I assume they have to get back together. And with this all happening this episode, I think that the other character is going to probably arrive for the last 3 episodes. I feel like that's going to be like a little arc in and of itself. But I guess we'll have to see. I guess we'll see exactly how it goes. I don't know what to expect, but all I know is that there's too few episodes left. I want more, and it's unfortunate that this is a single core season, and that we're not getting more, at least for the time being. There's definitely going to be a second season. It might arrive next year, but we'll have to wait and see. But I don't want this to be over, and it's going to be over before we know it. It sucks, you know? Either way, let's get into this and see what this episode has in store for us. Cutting in here real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I do pre-record them during the week, but upload them on the weekend. And don't forget about the gaming stuff on the Princess of Gaming channel. We have Baldur's Gate 3 every single day, Horizon Forbidden West every Monday and Friday. Tuesdays and Thursdays is Life is Strange Double Exposure. Wednesdays and Sundays is Beyond Two Souls. And Saturdays we have Nier Automata. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get to today's video. I do redirect everything just due to copyright reasons. And please, subscribe to the channel and like this video if you want to see more awesome content such as this. But thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. Let's get to today's reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, I don't know what the opinion on this is going to be. I don't know what people are going to think of this and everything. But this was probably my least favorite episode. And that's not to say it was bad. I want to clarify that right off the bat. I'm not saying that this episode was bad. When I say it's my least favorite, I just think it's the weakest so far. And to be fair, I wasn't like exceptionally huge into the setup that last episode gave with the Serpoians and everything, and Okarun, you know, being stripped down and all. But there were certain things that I just feel like were interesting that were set up in the last episode that just felt very poorly, like, not just resolved, but like continued on in this episode. There's a word for it. I can't think of it. But it's like the setup was greater than the actual follow through, basically. One of those things is Nessie. Nessie was shown in the in the last episode, episode 8, to be extremely intimidating, extremely like horror themed. Obviously design inspired by Shin Godzilla and everything. I don't think you saw its face at all once in this episode. And honestly, it just felt like less of a threat. It felt like more comedic, like, level enemy. Honestly, it should have felt like a higher threat than the Serpoians or the Mana Shrimp guy. The Mantisian, I think they were calling him. It should have been a higher threat than either of those two. And honestly, the combination of the Serpoian, like, absorbing and, like, fusing with Nessie and the Mantis Shrimp was also less intimidating than Nessie on its own in episode 8. And that combined is so actively disappointing. Because Nessie, last episode, had the makings for being the coolest and most intimidating enemy that they've fought. The Serpoians already were, like, let me be honest, the weakest enemy that they've had as it is. But I just feel like it would have been better if Nessie took out the Serpoians and the Mana Shrimp guy and was the actual, like, true villain here that they had to defeat, and was actually a much bigger threat. The other thing I'm, like, massively disappointed on is Ira. Ira's Acro Silky form, I feel, was so actively underutilized in this episode. Considering the last episode, like, the reveal of it and, like, the setup for it being, like, this really cool thing that's going to, like, at least to some degree save the day, it felt like it was so easily, like, dispatched and almost, not made useless, but almost made feel useless in this episode. Like, the only thing that the Acro Silky form really accomplished in the end was giving Okarun a path to run on. Otherwise, the Acro Silky form was a waste of time. And I feel it feels so sad because I really like Ira and I like the Acro Silky form. I just feel like it didn't amount to anything here. And I understand that it's new for her, that she's not trained with it. Okaroon has had some experience with his form by now. Momo's had experience with her powers. I understand that this is the first time Ira's using this. But still, it just feels, for as big of a moment as the end of episode 8 was, it feels underutilized. I really feel that Ira should have got the final blow against the enemy here, rather than Okaroon. Honestly, that's all they needed to do to fix the issue for me. And I understand this might just be an issue for me, but it is an issue for me. It felt just, in the end, pointless. It didn't live up to the hype that it set up with episode 8. Um, I like the visual choice to make the entire episode pretty much in like that green color. I think that it worked for the context and everything. But I also didn't like the entire like joke that Okaroon is, naked the entire time and having to cover up his crotch and all. It's like, and this isn't even an issue of like underage fan service or anything, because again, like I've stated in the past, they're not showing this like for a fan servicey way. It's meant to be taken as like, oh, this is not okay. Like these kids are being victimized and everything. It's like you're supposed to dislike it. So that's not my issue. My issue is I don't like that they used it to just have the joke of him like having to cover himself the entire time, and like there's that long scene of him scooting to the side to get over to her and all, and it's just like, why? This isn't funny. It's just like there's no reason they couldn't have had him find clothes to put on, or at least something to drape over himself. There's no reason that that couldn't have been in there. And all it led to was this joke at the end with them like arriving back into their dimension pretty much entirely naked, running through the halls freaking out because everybody saw them. And specifically saw Okaroon and Momo on top of each other on the floor while naked. And it's just like, it feels like that's the only reason that he got down to full nudity and like she and Ira got down to their underwear. It felt like it was made specifically for that joke, and the joke wasn't even funny. Like, don't get me wrong, the animation and like the expressionism, that was really well done. I liked the visuals of that scene, but the joke itself wasn't funny. At least not in my opinion. I mean, I know humor's subjective, and I know, like culturally, a lot of humor is very different. In terms of Japanese audiences compared to like American audiences and stuff. But it's like I don't see any level of comedy to that. Unless like the only thing that could be even possibly seen as comedic is the faces that they were making. And it's just like it really wasn't that funny. It's like they were like some really fun expressions, but that's not enough. And it felt more awkward than anything. Like it didn't feel like they were like it was on par with the way this has all been handled in previous episodes and all. And it feels off. You know what I mean? Um I just I just feel like this episode, like again, it wasn't bad. And I want to make that clear because it sounds like everything I'm saying is negative. It's like it was still entertaining. It was still fun to watch. It was still extremely well animated and everything. I just feel like this was definitely the weakest point of the series so far. I feel like just the way things were executed on and the way things were handled could have been just done a lot better. It felt like poor payoff to what was great setup at first. And I really feel like there was better ways to go about almost everything in this. Um, but I mean, hey, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Every show has issues. There's no such thing as a perfect series. Even my favorite show of all time, One Piece, has quite a few issues in it. So I'm not like holding it entirely against the show because most of the show has been amazing. One bad episode isn't going to ruin it. As long as I can clearly tell, like, the entire series isn't going to be like this, then sure. It's not like it's the first episode, which is legitimately trying to tell you what the series is about and what the series is going to be like. This is this is 9 episodes in. It's like you already know what the series is like for the most part. This is just one weak point. In my opinion. Um there's one other thing I want to mention real quick before we end this as well. Um Manga fans, I think, are dirty liars here because when the first episode aired and people were like pointing out the sexual assault and everything on Momo and all in that episode, there were manga fans who were saying, "Oh, it's really only at this part. The series doesn't stay like this. This isn't a consistent thing throughout the entire series. It changes focus and everything." It's like you lied. You actively lied. We're almost the entire way through this season, and it's been like this pretty much the entire time. Like this. Sorry about the dog. The male person's here. It hasn't stopped. This is episode 9. It's still happening. And it's not like just like, oh, the stuff with like, Okaru's balls and all. It's like, we're still getting this kind of stuff. We're still having Momo and now Ira stripped down. We're having Okaru stripped down. And like I've said before, it's equal opportunity, and that's at least good. And it's still being shown to be bad. It's still being shown as a full negative. And that these kids are being victimized. That's at least an okay way to handle it. But the manga readers were saying that this just stopped happening, and it's like it actively did not. You actively lied to us. Like, yeah, the show has definitely become a lot more than that. It's a lot more than just the insanity and the these underage kids, being stripped naked and stuff. There's a lot of emotion, a lot of heart, a lot of heaviness, a lot of intensity, great moments, amazing writing, character work, etc., etc. But this shit's still happening. So all the manga readers who were telling us that it's not going to stay like that were just fucking lying. They were just fucking lying to make it so that as many people continued watching as possible. It's like, Jesus. And honestly, I don't see, I don't think it's going to, slow down on that. Like I said, the only reason I'm okay with it is because of it being showcased to be entirely negative. It's not like a show like Kill la Kill that tries to not only justify it, but make it seem like a good thing. So it's all about the context and everything, and that does help, but it's like it was still mishandled in this episode too. It still needed to be done differently. But again, A lot of this is just my opinion, my views on things. As I always say, I do not want to try and influence you with my opinion. I'm just sharing it because this is a reaction video. It's what this is about. This entire thing is literally about me sharing my opinion with you on what I'm reacting to. I'm not going to try to change your mind or determine what you see in this. That is completely up to you. If you really love this episode and think it's one of the best of the series, awesome, cool. I appreciate that. But I don't. I think it's the worst episode of this show so far. And both of our viewpoints are entirely valid and are entirely correct because that's how opinions work. But like I said, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so tell me in the comments below what did you think of this episode. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.